getting set for more baseball action here on First Class Radio. Post 59 entered their annual 4th of July meeting with Framingham riding a 7-game winning streak, but the offense was just about invisible for Post 59 on the 4th of July as Framingham Post 74 came to town. Milford able to notch a mercy rule victory against Framingham on the road earlier this season, but Framingham getting their revenge here at Pheno Field yesterday. And it was all about the starting pitching performance of Framingham's Sam Phipps, who went the distance, 7 innings pitched, a complete game 2-hit shutout on 5 strikeouts, and pitched the last 2 1/3 of those innings basically on one leg after he suffered an injury, a line drive taken off what looked to be the left ankle, but he hung tough and was able to really hold Milford completely off balance all game long. A lot of quick ground ball outs, very effective pitching from the righty. So it was a little bit of a bump in the road for Milford. They hope it is just a small bump in the road, but they have a big test coming up here tonight as they take on Northbridge Post 343 for the second time on the season. Two very notorious rivals. It's an intense matchup between these two teams, and we've already seen them lock up once on the year. That came on the road a little bit earlier in the season in a game that stayed relatively close. Milford had a lot of offensive chances early in that game against Northbridge, but could not cash in, and ultimately it was Northbridge Post 343 who walked away with the victory in Game 1 of this matchup. It was a final score of 6-3. Milford comes into tonight's game in the number 7 seed. They dropped down a spot after that loss yesterday, so that really underscores how each and every win truly is crucial at this point in the season. Just hanging on now inside those top 7 spots, those playoff seeds, if you will, in Zone 4. So Milford needs a win here tonight to keep any chance of a losing streak off the board and, again, stay in those playoff spots, as there are other teams lurking right behind them looking to take their spot. The pressure is on as we enter into the home stretch of this 2015 regular season. And again, a key matchup here in prime time on Sunday night in Milford as Post 59 takes on Northbridge Post 343. A very heavy workload over the course of this holiday weekend for Milford with that tough game against Leominster on Friday that turned into a mercy rule victory, and then right back here for an early morning start yesterday. And the game here tonight against Northbridge under the lights here at Pheno Field. We will move right along into the starting lineups for tonight's game. First for the visitors, that is Northbridge Post 343. Leading it off is the second baseman Justin Stone. Isaiah Wadsworth, the right fielder, bats second. Matt Nichols plays center field and bats third. And batting fourth is the catcher Austin Young. The first baseman Dylan Jepson bats fifth, with Teddy Carey, the left fielder, batting sixth. Teddy Morris plays third base and bats seventh, with Nate Spaz, the designated hitter, batting eighth. And in the ninth spot is the shortstop Tyler Galimi. And for Milford Post 59, their lineup looks like this. Matt DeCina once again leads it off at shortstop. Andrew McMillan moves up to the number 2 spot. He plays third base, with Kevin Valentine, the game's starting pitcher, batting third. Michael Ryan plays first base today and bats cleanup, with Blake Hill, the right fielder, batting fifth. Batting sixth and playing left field is Kyle Nocera, with the second baseman Brian Espinette batting seventh. Tyler Monahan catches and bats eighth, and in the ninth spot is the center fielder Kevin Lynch. And your pitching matchup in this game, Tommy Sparino takes the hill for Northbridge, and Kevin Valentine in the starting lineup and also on the pitcher's mound, set to make another start here in his first season with Milford Post 59. It is a comfortable 79 degrees here in Milford. The lights are on under overcast skies, and we are about to get this game underway as Justin Stone, the second baseman and leadoff hitter for Northbridge, strides towards the batter's box. Milford back in their home white jerseys after debuting the camouflage uniform tops in the game yesterday. And the right-handed starter, Kevin Valentine, about to fire in the first pitch of the game, and it is in for a called strike one. Baseball underway at Pheno Field in Milford. Stone, the right-handed batter, settles back in. The 0-1 pitch is high and tight, a breaking ball that stayed well inside, and evens the count at 1-1. Kevin Valentine working quickly. Here's his next pitch. That hugs the outside corner, bringing the count to a ball and 2 strikes. It's been A successful first 2 starts in a Milford Legion baseball uniform for Kevin Valentine. He's ready now to deliver the 1-2 pitch, and that is just outside. Borderline not going Valentine's way. Steps right back on the pitching rubber, ready now with a 2-2 offering, and this is popped up behind the plate. Monahan gives it a look, but that will drift out of play, and it will stay a 2-ball, 2-strike count. Kevin Valentine now making his 3rd start of the season. He is 2-0, and so far has pitched 2 complete games in his Milford career. He has yet to give up an earned run. Just 1 run allowed. It was unearned on 13 hits. He has walked just 2 and struck out 7. As this pitch floats a little bit high, and so now the count runs full. Opposing batters are batting .250 against Kevin Valentine. He steps off now as Stone steps out of the batter's box briefly. Here is the 3-2 pitch now. It's off the end of the bat over towards first base underneath the glove of Michael Ryan, trying to skid to his right to make the play, but that slips out into right field for a leadoff single, and that will be something interesting to watch over the course of this game tonight. It is Michael Ryan making his first start on the season at first base. It's the first time we've seen him at that position in his now 2-year Milford Legion career. We saw him predominantly behind the plate last season. He started off this year as the catcher, then suffered that thumb injury, and since then we've just seen him as the DH, is now the number 2 hitter. Bunts it out towards the pitcher's mound, Isaiah Wadsworth, credited with the sacrifice. Kevin Valentine did get to that one quickly, but did not look to second base, just fired right on to first. So a sacrifice bunt puts Stone into scoring position. And again, it was a 6-3 final score between these 2 teams up at Northbridge Middle School earlier on the season. So every run important. As now Matt Nichols sends a pitch out to shallow right center field. It's going to drop in front of Blake Hill for a hit. And up to third base goes Justin Stone. That one hung up for a long time. Blake Hill, Kevin Lynch, and also the second baseman Espinette trying to chase it down, but it ended up landing shallow out in right center field for a base hit. So trouble brewing for Milford here in the top of the first. Runners at the corners with only 1 out. And now Austin Young, the cleanup hitter and starting catcher, digs in on the left side. He swings at the first pitch and lines it foul over towards the third base dugout. 0-1 the count on Young. Much of this Northbridge lineup is identical to what we saw earlier on the season. No balls and 1 strike the count. Here's the pitch, and it's on the ground weakly to first base, fielded by Michael Ryan. The throw to second out there, return throw to first is not in time, and a run scores. Ryan fielding that ball as quickly as he could. He had to spin around to make the throw to second base. And Young was able to beat the return throw back to first, and it ends up an RBI on the fielder's choice for Austin Young that gives Post 343 a 1-0 lead. So the sacrifice bunt, a big play in this inning, allowing that runner to move into scoring position, advanced to third base on the single by Nichols, and eventually was able to come around and score. There is now just 1 runner on base for Northbridge. It is at first as this pitch is lined out into right field. That drops down for a hit. Nichols now moves up to second base. Check that, Young moves down to second base, as Dylan Jepson is safe with a single. So that is 3 hits in this first inning now off of Kevin Valentine, and Tyler Monahan, the catcher, will go and talk things over on the mound. Defensively for Milford, it is Monahan behind the plate with Andrew McMillan at third, Matt DeCina at short, Brian Espinette at second, and Michael Ryan at first. Left to right in the outfield, Kyle Nocera, Kevin Lynch, and Blake Hill. Milford already trailing here in the top of the first, 1-0. Northbridge looking for more as they have runners at first and second base with 2 outs in the inning. And it is Teddy Carey, the left fielder, the 6th batter to come to the plate. He takes a pitch up high, evening the count at 1-1. "15 pitches so far in this top of the first inning as this one is hit on the ground slowly to second base. Espinette waits for it and then flips underhand to second base for the force play. That ends the inning, but 3 hits in the frame, a run scored for Northbridge, and just half an inning in the books. Post 343 is able to take the 1-0 lead. Milford, Post 59, will take their first swings of the game. When we come back next, stay tuned to coverage of Milford Legion Baseball on First Class Radio. Northbridge, Post 343, grabs the first lead of this game, courtesy of a RBI on a ground out, a fielder's choice play by Austin Young. Milford trying to turn an inning-ending double play, but Young able to beat it out at first base, the runner from third coming home. So a run on 3 hits for Northbridge in the first inning. We saw Milford strike first in the top of the first inning against Northbridge on the road. That was a lead that did not hold up as Northbridge was able to immediately come back and tie the game in the bottom half of the first inning and then later on take the lead. So Milford will look to follow that same formula as they come to the plate in the bottom of the first inning. Matt DeCina, Andrew McMillan, and Kevin Valentine due up against the starting pitcher for Northbridge, Tommy Sperino. Sperino was able to earn a save against Milford, coming in relief in that game earlier in the season. Sperino pitching 2 2/3 innings of 1-hit shutout relief. He walked 1 and struck out 2. And Milford looking to bring some energy here in the bottom of the first inning as Matt DeCina comes to the plate, an uproar coming out from the bench. DeCina settling in on the left side. The lanky right-handed throwing Tommy Sperino deals in his first pitch down in the dirt for ball 1. Now the 1-0 pitch. That is in for a called strike. Matt DeCina reaching base via a walk in the game yesterday, but that was all. 0 for 2, the final line for DeCina offensively against Framingham. He's ahead in the count here, 2 balls and no strikes. 2 balls and 1 strike the count. The next pitch on the way, and it is high for ball 3. DeCina readies himself at the plate. Here is the 3-1 pitch, and that's in for a called strike. With that hitless day yesterday, Matt DeCina's batting average dipping below 400 for the first time all season. He comes in now at 388. Here's the 3-2 pitch. It's hit out to shallow left field. In comes Teddy Carey. He tries to dive but cannot make the catch. DeCina a wide turn around first base and then has to quickly retreat as Carey got the ball back in swiftly.
Now batting number 2.
A nice bid for Carey, but he cannot secure it in the glove, and it's a leadoff single for DeCina. That will bring up Andrew McMillan. We've seen McMillan out of the 3-hole for this last long stretch of games, but moved up. Talking to Coach DeVito before the game, just very confident in Andrew McMillan's skills in this number 2 spot in the lineup, saying he is just about the perfect number 2 hitter. So getting him up in this spot, looking to jump start the lineup as he flares this pitch out into shallow left field, but hanging up a little bit longer this time. It allows Carey to stay on his feet as he ranges in and makes the catch.
Now batting, number 3.
McMillan out number 1 in the inning, and now here is Kevin Valentine, also moved up in the lineup. Understandably, Coach DeVito shuffling things around after a 2-hit shutout performance from his offense yesterday. Valentine in the number 4 spot, in the number 3 spot. Michael Ryan in that cleanup spot today. As Valentine hits one hard on the ground to second base, fielded cleanly by Justin Stone, able to get the out at second base, and the throw to first completes the 4 to 6 to 3 inning-ending double play. The leadoff single is spoiled for Milford. We've completed 1 inning now from Fino, a 1-0 lead for Northbridge, here on coverage of Milford Legion Baseball on First Class Radio. Kevin Valentine about to issue the first pitch of the top of the second inning. It's low for ball 1. Facing the bottom third of the Northbridge order, Teddy Morris, Nate Spaz, and Tyler Galimi. The 1-0 pitch is popped up. Out into shallow right center field. Out goes Espinette. He will make the catch. That has been a troublesome spot in the outfield early on in this game, as it didn't look like Lynch or Blake Hill were able to get a particularly good read on that ball, but Espinette backpedaled all the way out to make the catch. And leadoff batter Teddy Morris is retired. Now Nate Spaz, the designated hitter, the only batter in the lineup here tonight that was not in the lineup in the first game of this season series. A 1-ball, 1-strike count after a big swing and a miss from Spaz. Takes a pitch now on the outside edge for a called strike 2. Spaz, a righty bat. Kevin Lynch, a right-handed pitcher, ready with his 1-2. This is lined up over the glove of Andrew McMillan. It's down the left field line, gathered in quickly by Nocera, and that will hold Nate Spaz to a 1-out single. Already now the 4th Northbridge hit.
Now batting number 2.
Just 2 batters deep into the top of the second inning.
Galimi.
Kevin Valentine giving up a total of 13 hits over his first 2 outings. Allowing 4 here to the first 8 batters. The runner immediately taking off for second base. The throw down is not in time. The throw from Monahan coming in high at second base. It was fielded by Espinette. Tried to swipe that tag down as quickly as he could, but Spaz in safely with the steal, so a single, and then immediately gets himself into scoring position with the stolen base. Now this one hit on the ground to shortstop. DeCina's there. He makes the play and the throw to first base. So the stolen base prevents the potential for an inning-ending double play.
Second baseman, Justin Stone.
Northbridge with 3 stolen bases in the game against Milford back on June 20th. There are 2 outs in the inning after that ground out by Tyler Galimi. And now it's back up to the top spot, Justin Stone, who singled and scored last inning. Here is the 1-0 pitch. It's down in the dirt. It gets away from Monahan. He will hold on to the ball, not throwing down to third base. It didn't get all that far away, but reading that one quickly at second base was Spaz. And he moves himself up to third. A 2-ball, no-strike count. Now another potential run for Northbridge, leading off of third base. Here's the pitch in from Valentine, and that misses for ball 3. Not missing by very much, and Kevin Valentine receiving another visit from his battery mate Tyler Monahan. Valentine not quite looking as comfortable through these first 2 innings as we saw in his previous 2 starts. A 3-ball, no strike count on Justin Stone. He takes all the way and takes a called strike 1. Kevin Valentine last worked back on Tuesday as part of the doubleheader against Cherry Valley. As he deals in a called strike 2, that will fill up the count. Valentine pitching all 7 innings in that game, allowed 1 run on 7 hits. He walked just 1 and struck out 3. He did allow an early run to Cherry Valley in that game to fall behind. Milford eventually with the comeback. Here is the 3-2 pitch. It is floated out to shallow center field. In comes Kevin Lynch, and he gets there in time to make the catch. For the out that ends the inning, Northbridge strands the runner at third base. And we head to the bottom half of the second inning. It remains Northbridge 1 and Milford 0. Here on your home for Milford Legion Baseball, WMRC First Class Radio. Back here on coverage of Milford Legion Baseball on WMRC First Class Radio. I am Tim Poet, Craig D'Alessandro back in our WMRC studios.
First baseman, Mike.
Milford trailing Northbridge in this game by a score of 1-0. Kevin Valentine inducing a flyout to conclude the top half of this inning with a runner on third base. And now it will be Michael Ryan to lead things off. Ryan takes the first pitch for a called strike. A frustrating day at the plate for Michael Ryan yesterday. He did reach on an error to lead off the second inning. After that, a ground out to second base and then a strikeout in the 7th inning. Here he flares one over to second base, and making the hopping grab was the second baseman Justin Stone. Not quite sure if the leap was necessary, but Stone able to make the grab for the first out here in the bottom of the second inning. And that brings up Blake Hill. A lot of these Milford hitters saw a dip in their offensive stats after the tough game yesterday, and Blake Hill in particular rode a 5-game hitting streak into the game yesterday. He saw that come to an end. Hill ended up going 0 for 3 with a pair of flyouts to left and also a ground out. Still maintains a batting average at .356 on the year. He sends a fly ball out to right field here. Tracking it back is Isaiah Wadsworth, deep out in right field, but Wadsworth is able to make the catch. One of the deeper parts in a very deep outfield here at Pheno Field. 432 feet all the way to the fence in right center field. That ball not nearly traveling that deep. So Hill out number 2, and now here is Kyle Nocera. Nocera takes the first pitch for a called strike. When Nocera was last in the lineup, all he did was drive in 5 runs in the Mercy Rule victory over Leominster, accounting for 50% of the offensive output in the game. Here he sends one weakly on the ground to first base, gathered in by Dylan Jepson. He takes it to the bag himself for the out that ends the inning. A very quick and painless bottom half of the second inning for the starting pitcher, Tommy Sparino. We're through 2 from Pheno. It remains 1-0 in favor of Northbridge. Coverage of Milford Legion Baseball here on First Class Radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys.
Kevin Valentine issuing a swinging strike 1 to the number 2 hitter Isaiah Wadsworth as we get underway in the top of the third inning. A big crowd once again here at Pheno Field, but once again it seems as though the away fans have traveled quite well, and it has been a troubling trend here over the last couple of days at Pheno Field, hearing considerable cheering from the away section and not so much from the hometown fans, and there certainly has not been a whole lot of Milford offense to cheer about through the last 2 games. Just a total of 3 hits now for Milford in the game yesterday, combined with the first 2 innings here today. Kevin Valentine, however, getting off to a solid start in the top half of the third inning, getting a swinging strike 3 out of Wadsworth for the first out of the inning. It's the first K for Valentine. The leadoff batter retired. It takes us up to Matt Nichols, who singled in his first at-bat. Was then erased on a force play bounced into by Austin Young. Milford making that bid for an inning-ending double play, but not to be, and it allowed Northbridge to score what right now is the only run in the ball game. It's now a 1-ball-and-1 strike count on Nichols. And now a 1-ball, 2-strike count. Matt Nichols had a very good day at the plate against Milford pitching back on June 20th, a 3-for-4 day, 3 singles. He had a run batted in, a run scored. He also stole a base. The 1-2 pitch from Valentine, and that is in for a called strike 3. No argument from Nichols. He heads right back to the dugout. Back-to-back Ks for Valentine in the top of the third. And that leaves it up to Austin Young, who has the lone RBI in the contest. The first pitch missing down and into Young for a ball. Valentine back into his windup. Here is the pitch. Young thinking about swinging the bat, but holds up on a pitch that dips too low. 2 balls and no strikes. Valentine looking for that 1-2-3 inning. Here is his 2-0. Wow. And asking for timeout late was Austin Young. It was denied by the home plate umpire. He took the pitch right down the middle for a called strike. And now getting some argument from both the batter and also the Northbridge dugout. The home plate umpire is under no obligation to grant a timeout at the plate, especially one asked for that late. Here's the 2-1 pitch now, and it's hit slowly over to third base, gathered in by McMillan. He throws across the diamond, a low throw, but dug out at first base by Michael Ryan. And a quick 1-2-3 inning for Valentine here in the third. 2.5 innings in the books, a 1-0 lead for Northbridge. Stay tuned to coverage of Milford Legion Baseball here on First Class Radio. The bottom third of the Milford lineup, Brian Espinette, Tyler Monahan, and Kevin Lynch will try their luck against the Northbridge starter, I should say, Tommy Sparino. Sparino has allowed just 1 base runner through his first 2 innings of work. It was a leadoff single by Matt DeCina. But Milford ultimately hitting into an inning-ending double play in the first inning. Only 3 batters coming to the plate, and a quick 1-2-3 inning in the second. So Sparino has faced the minimum batters to this point in the game. Defensively for Northbridge, it is Austin Young behind the plate with Teddy Morris at third, Tyler Galimi at short, Justin Stone at second, and Dylan Jepson at first. Left to right in the outfield, Teddy Carey, Matt Nichols, and Isaiah Wadsworth. Ready now to see the first pitch of the inning. Espinette swings away and sends it on the ground to shortstop. Gathered in by Galimi. He fires to first. 1 pitch and 1 out. This game taking on some eerie similarities to what we saw out of the Milford offense yesterday. Swinging early in counts, off-balance swings, weak ground balls on the infield. And now Monahan swings at the first pitch. He hits it on the ground to third base. A brief bobble by Morris, but still plenty of time to get it to first. And right now, Sparino only 2 pitches deep into this bottom of the third inning, and 2 outs have been recorded. Now here is Kevin Lynch looking to at least make Sparino work a bit in the frame. Kevin Lynch batting .320 coming into the game this evening. He takes the first pitch for a called strike. Lynch now with 8 hits on the season and 25 total at-bats. Looking for his first extra base hit. He does have 3 runs batted in. And sends a chopper And the lengthy frame of Sparino, the pitcher, working to his advantage as he was able to leap on the pitcher's mound and stab that ball on the way by. He throws to first base, and a total of 4 pitches thrown in the bottom of the third inning for Sparino. And Milford is set down once again, 1-2-3. Through with 3 innings now from Fino. It stays a 1-0 score in favor of the visitors. Coverage of Milford Legion Baseball on First Class Radio. Kevin Valentine coming off of his best inning so far of his outing, back on the mound for the top of the 4th. Not getting much of a breather in between pitches, in between innings at all, as his counterpart Tommy Sparino needing just 4 pitches to dispatch the Milford bats in the bottom of the 3rd. And it's a quick 2-ball, no strike count for Valentine against Dylan Jepson. And now this pitch is a line drive out into the gap in left center field. It's down for a hit. Looking to cut it off quickly is Kevin Lynch. Not the best speed out of Jepson, so he will pull up with the leadoff single. But a leadoff line drive single puts Northbridge in business here in the 4th. It's taken us just about 30 minutes to already get into the 4th inning. Another quick-moving game. Yesterday, just about 90 minutes to get in 7 innings between Milford and Framingham in a game that saw a combined total of just 6 hits. It's a 1-ball, no strike count now on Teddy Carey, the number 6 hitter in the Northbridge lineup. The right-handed hitting Carey digs in. Here's the pitch. This is hit in the air out to center field. Racing towards the left center field gap is Lynch. He makes the catch. And retreating to first base is Jepson now with 1 down. First 2 balls put into play with authority for Northbridge in this inning, but that one fortunately for Milford hanging up for Lynch to make the play. Now Teddy Morris, the third baseman, stands in. And Morris swings away at the first pitch and lofts it foul. Morris popped out to the shortstop his last time up. I'll look in for Kevin Valentine. Looking to get on the same page with Monahan. Now he steps off. They'll go through the signs again. Teddy Morris walked twice against Milford pitching back on the 20th. He hits a ball on the ground here to first. A nice play by Ryan to get the out at second base. The throw to first is in the dirt. It ricochets away, but backed up nicely by Brian Espinette. That saves an error and saves a potential runner in scoring position. Michael Ryan was able to get down on that ball to make the play at first base. They were able to get the out at second. The return throw from DeCina was off the mark. All kinds of bodies in the vicinity, too, as the pitcher Valentine had also raced over to cover first. So it will go as a force play and a fielder's choice for Morris. At first base now with 2 outs in the inning, erased on the play was Jepson. And a 1-ball, no strike count now on Nate Spaz, the designated hitter. He swings at this pitch and sends it on the ground right through the left side of the infield, perfectly placed. Nothing either McMillan or DeCina could do about it. It stayed on the ground the whole way through the infield. Eventually rolling out to Kyle Nocera in shallow left. And Spaz out of the number 8 spot is 2 for 2. That now puts runners at first and second base as Northbridge threatens for a 2-out rally. The number 9 hitter Galimi swinging away at the first pitch. He rolls it foul over towards the Milford dugout. Galimi grounded out to shortstop in his first at bat. He came through with some key at-bats against Milford back on the 20th. And here he floats one out to right field, but in was Blake Hill, and he is able to get there in time to make the catch for the out that ends the inning. Another 2 runners stranded for Post 343. They have stranded 5 now over the first 4 innings. It remains a 1-0 lead in favor of Northbridge, headed to the home half of the 4th. Here on coverage of Milford Legion Baseball on First Class Radio and streaming online at WMRCDailyNews.com. Milford looking to finally break the bats back out. It has been one of the more frustrating stretches we have seen this whole season out of Post 59. They have been relegated to just 1 hit through their first 3 innings. They have not had a base runner since the first batter of the bottom of the first, and that is the man at the plate right now, Matt DeCina. A count of 1 ball and 1 strike against Tommy Sparino. And he takes a breaking ball now that grabs the inside part of the plate to bring the count to 1 ball and 2 strikes. DeCina reaching on a leadoff single in the bottom of the first, but erased in the inning-ending double play. He sends a pitch on 1 high hop to second base. Gathering it in is Justin Stone. And the throw to first base in time. 4-3 on the ground out. So 9 batters in a row now retired for Sparino. Here now is Andrew McMillan. He flew out to left field his last time up. He hits one on the ground to second base. Again fielded by Stone. Back-to-back grounders to second base. Milford unable to get anything on a line against Sparino. Everything has either been floated in the air or hit slowly on the ground. Once again being held off balance by good pitching. Kevin Valentine handcuffed on the first pitch of his at-bat for a called strike 1. Milford trying to keep the chatter up in the dugout as Valentine sends a pitch out to left field. In towards the foul line goes Teddy Carey. He makes the catch. And the Milford bats continue to make life very easy on Tommy Sparino. He settles in on his 3rd straight 1-2-3 inning of his outing. And we are through now 4 innings of play from Fino Field, and the score is unchanged, 1-0 in favor of Northbridge. Coverage of Milford Legion Baseball here on First Class Radio. Already entering into the top of the 5th inning here at Fino Field. Milford taking on Northbridge. Northbridge scratching across a run in the top half of the 1st inning. And that is the difference in this ball game. Another 1-0 score. It's what we saw here at Fino yesterday. That was the final score between Framingham and Milford. And right now, Northbridge about to bring their top 3 hitters in the order to the plate. Justin Stone taking the first pitch for a ball. The next one in from Valentine is in that troublesome spot out in shallow right center field. And again, it's down for a hit. Just up over the reach of the second baseman Espinette. No chance for the center or right fielder to make a play. And Justin Stone gathering his 2nd hit of the night. He's now 2 for 3. The last time he led off an inning with a base hit, he came around to score. Good speed on the bases for Northbridge as now their number 2 hitter, Isaiah Wadsworth, steps in. He bunts. Valentine fields it. The throw to second base is not in time, and the throw to first base is wild. It does not trickle far enough away from first base for the runner to advance. Valentine looking to cut down the lead runner. It was a close play at second base. Coach DeVito is out to argue. Coach DeVito is starting to get a little hot on the field now. He is convinced that runner was out. It was a tough play. It was a bang-bang play at the plate, at the second base bag, I should say, as Stone slid in, and Coach DeVito in some dangerous territory here. getting in very close proximity to that infield umpire. The umpire now gesturing for him to head back to the first base dugout. He does so. It is very rare that you see Coach DeVito that hot with an umpire on the field, so he was very sure that that was a missed call at second base, but the argument does nothing to change the outcome. Runners at first and second base now for Northbridge. No outs in the inning. And the first pitch in is a called strike to Matt Nichols. So it will go in the books as a fielder's choice for Wadsworth, although no out was recorded on the play. Northbridge looking to sacrifice a man into scoring position. They get the bonus, getting both runners safe. Now this ball is chopped slowly to third base. McMillan will take it to the third base bag to get the out on the lead runner. He does not throw to either first or second base, just securing that out at third. Nichols safe on the fielder's choice. Out at third base is Stone. Back-to-back fielder's choice plays. It puts runners at first and second base now with one down. Ahead of the man with the only RBI in this game so far, Austin Young. He takes the first pitch for a called strike. It actually popped out of the glove of Monahan after the strike was called, but bounced out in front of the plate. Kevin Valentine now up to an even 60 pitches in his outing. Here's the 0-1. That just misses. And the frustration over in the Milford dugout for the coaching staff continues after that borderline pitch does not go Milford's way. Here now is the 1-1, that one well outside. Two balls and one strike as Wadsworth leads off of second base. Nichols off of first. The next pitch misses away once again. 3 balls and a strike. And again, Monahan out for a chat with Valentine, giving him a couple of pats on the back. The Milford crowd getting a little restless. A big pitch coming up for Kevin Valentine on the 3-1 count. He sets, here is the pitch. It's popped up. Out to center field, it is Kevin Lynch. Keeps his eye on it, makes the catch. And a big second out in the inning recorded. Freezes the runners at first and second base, and now it's up to Dylan Jepson, who has collected base hits in each of his last 2 at-bats. He rifled a pitch out to left center field his last time up, but a nice job out there by Kevin Lynch to quickly cut the ball off, denied extra bases to Jepson, who looks at a called strike 1. Jepson, the right-handed batter, waits, takes a pitch low and away for a ball. Jepson was the starting pitcher for Northbridge in the team's last meeting, pitched 4 1/3 innings, allowed 3 runs on 4 hits, was not part of the decision. He's now ahead in the count, 2 balls and 1 strike. Jepson was also in the lineup in that game. He went 0 for 4 with a pair of strikeouts. So having a better offensive day here today, ahead in the count, 2 balls and a strike with 2 outs in the inning. And chops the ball on the ground. That's going to sneak through the left side for a hit. They'll wave the runner to the plate. Here comes the throw from Nocera. It is not in time, and around to score from second base is Wadsworth. That one just took a couple of big hops on the left side and somehow snuck through. And it allows Northbridge to increase their lead to 2-0. So a clutch 2-out base hit for Jepson, who is now 3 for 3. Probably the worst contact he's made on a pitch all day, but it's good to drive in a run. And now this pitch is hit hard on the ground to shortstop. Decina able to get there. He fires to second base for the force out that ends the inning. But the 2-out RBI base hit for Dylan Jepson allows Northbridge to increase their lead now to 2-0 over Milford, who will look to find some answers at the plate when they come up in the bottom of the 5th inning. That is on the way next. Stay tuned to coverage of Milford Legion baseball here on First Class Radio. It will be the 4, 5, and 6 hitters up in this bottom of the 5th inning against Tommy Sparino, who continues to face the minimum amount of batters. Starts off with a strike against Michael Ryan, who now chops it on the ground to second base. A friendly hop for Justin Stone, who fires to first base, and Ryan is out number 1.
Outstanding right fielder, Blake Hill.
You can make it now 11 in a row set down for Tommy Sparino, retiring every batter in the game with the exception of the very first batter he faced, allowing a leadoff single in the first to Matt Decina. And he has allowed absolutely nothing since then. Gets a half-hearted swing out of Blake Hill for strike 1. Tried to hold up on that swing, but went around. Hill flew out to right field his last time up. Takes a pitch a little bit inside, evening the count. Sparino back into his windup. Here is the pitch. And that's a called strike. Just about the same location as the previous pitch, but this one getting the benefit of the strike call. And it's a 1-ball, 2-strike count. Sparino fires in another, and that is up high. It glances off the glove of Austin Young. Bouncing right back towards the Milford TV camera, positioned behind the plate. Milford TV here covering the action tonight. Here's the 2-2 pitch, and it's hit hard on the ground, and it's a foul ball. Hard shot down the first base line. Looked like it may have kicked off the chalk, but ruled a foul ball. It is a 2-ball, 2-strike count on Hill. Here's the pitch, and this is in the air, foul and out of play off to the left. Milford TV showing a marathon of 2015 Legion games on the 4th of July yesterday. You can check out all the games they have covered over on the Milford TV educational channel. It's a 2-ball, 2-strike count still on Blake Hill, who now will be awarded timeout at the plate. This is one of the tougher at-bats we've seen Milford put on today. Another 2-2 offering, and it's swung on and missed. Chasing a pitch off the outside part of the plate was Hill, so he battled hard, but ends up a strikeout victim, just the first strikeout for Tommy Sparino in the game. He has been very comfortable pitching to contact. And now here is Kyle Nocera. Nocera takes the first pitch away for ball 1. The Milford fans continue to grow restless with the lack of offensive punch displayed from their team. Here's the 1-0. It's off the end of the bat. A cue shot foul up over the backstop and out of play. One ball, 1 strike, 1 out. 2 outs in the inning. The base is empty. A ground out by Michael Ryan, a strikeout by Blake Hill. Nocera, a swing and a miss. Off balance on the swing, and Tommy Sparino 1 pitch away from his 4th consecutive 1-2-3 frame into his windup. Here is the pitch, and it's hit in the air down the right field line, twisting into foul ground. Over goes Isaiah Wadsworth, but he cannot make a play. That one right to the very edge of the playing surface. A good bid by Wadsworth, but that one lands foul and gives Nocera another chance. Nocera grounded out to first base for the final out in the second inning. Up with 2 outs and the base is empty here in the bottom of the 5th. Another 1-2 pitch and a weak chopper out towards the pitcher's mound, fielded by Sparino. He throws to first for the 1-3 ground out that ends the inning. Another inning of no base runners for Milford Post 59. They continue to struggle mightily against the talented right-handed starter Tommy Sparino. We've completed now 5 innings from Fino Field. It is 2-0 in favor of Northbridge here on coverage of Milford Legion Baseball on First Class Radio. Back once again on coverage of Milford Legion Baseball on First Class Radio. Kevin Valentine dealing with the bottom third of the Northbridge lineup. Teddy Morris leading it off. And Morris quickly down in the count. No balls and 2 strikes. Morris 0 for 2. He popped out in his first at bat, bounced into a fielder's choice. Back in the 4th inning, takes a close pitch, ruled ball 1 off the outside part of the plate. Valentine's next pitch. That misses inside. It ricochets off of possibly the forearm of Monahan as he shakes out that arm on the glove side. And it's now 2-2. Here's the pitch. Down in the dirt. Valentine up to 74 pitches. Ready now with a 3-2 offering. It's hit on the ground to shortstop. Over is DeCina. He fields and throws to first base. And Morris is retired for the first out in the inning. The Red Sox playing an early game here on the 5th of July, and they were able to walk away with their 2nd straight victory over the Houston Astros by a final score of 5-4. As this pitch is hit in the air by Nate Spaz down the left field line towards foul territory, now twisting back into fair ground. Nocera, a good job staying with that ball, and he's able to make the catch for the 2nd out in the inning. The Red Sox led most of the way in the game, but a 3-run top of the 7th inning for the Astros gave the visitors the lead, but Boston able to come back in the bottom half of that inning. A big 2-run home run by Hanley Ramirez, giving the Red Sox the 5-4 lead and the 5-4 victory, so taking 2 out of 3 from the red-hot Houston Astros. There are 2 outs here in the top of the 6th inning in Milford, and a 1-0 pitch driven in the air out to right field. And the number 9 hitter Tyler Galimi pops out for the out that ends the inning. So a nice inning from Valentine, getting Morris, Spaz, and Galimi 1-2-3. But time is running out for Milford. We head to the bottom of the 6th inning. It is Northbridge 2 and Milford 0 here on coverage of Milford Legion Baseball on First Class Radio. Before we get started in the bottom of the 6th inning, we do want to update you on what was a very full slate of games around the zone for the Sunday, July 5th. There were only 2 games in the zone yesterday. Of course, the game here in Milford, Framingham defeating Milford 1-0. Grafton Hill also with a 4th of July meeting with Maine South, winning that contest 7-1. As Brian Espinette gets set to lead things off for Milford in the inning, and he takes a called strike 1 against Tommy Sparino. A total of 8 games being played around the zone here today, with this game included, several double headers. And so some of the final scores from around the zone today: Cherry Valley defeating Leominster by a final score of 4-3 as the next pitch into Espinette is fouled down the first base line. Shrewsbury defeating Wachusett by a final score of 8-5. Northborough bested Maine South by a final score of 9-2. North County defeating Framingham 3-2, so Framingham couldn't keep the momentum rolling after their win here in Milford. An 0-2 pitch on the way to Espinette, and it's a wave and a miss. It briefly gets away from the catcher Young. He will fire to first. And Espinette is a strikeout victim for out number 1. So again, North County beating Framingham 3-2. Wachusett as part of their doubleheader, coming back to defeat Eastside 5-2. And Leominster and Shrewsbury also involved in 2 games today. It was Leominster topping Shrewsbury in a battle of 2 teams towards the top of the standings. Leominster over Shrewsbury by a final score of 2-1. So the only 2 games that have not gone final around the zone. This one here, Northbridge at Milford, and Northborough at Grafton Hill, also a 7 o'clock start. 1 out and the base is empty in the bottom of the 6th inning. Tyler Monahan jumps ahead in the count, 2 balls and no strikes. Sparino a look in. Now winds and fires, and the pitch is ball 3, just missing off the outside part of the plate. And Milford now with their best chance for a base runner since all the way back in the 1st inning as Monahan jumps ahead in the count 3-0. Here's the pitch. And Monahan wisely takes all the way. The pitch a called strike. Continuing to look down for signs from the third base coach is Tyler Monahan. Here now is the 3-1 pitch. It is popped up. The catcher traveling into foul ground, tracking the ball towards the Milford dugout, and he can't make the catch. The catcher, Austin Young, traveling over towards the Milford dugout. He seemed to have a good read on the ball the whole way, but he overran it a bit, tried to extend the glove back towards the field of play, but couldn't make the catch, so another chance for Monahan. It is now a 3-ball, 2-strike count. Here comes the payoff pitch, and it's driven in the air out to center field. Racing back is Matt Nichols, still going back, and he is able to settle underneath and make the catch. Plenty of room for a center fielder to race back into straightaway center field here at Pheno. A deep drive from Tyler Monahan, but it will go down as out number 2 in the inning. Milford down to their last 4 outs. And now Kevin Lynch, the last hope here in the bottom of the 6th inning. He takes a pitch high for ball 1. Lynch 0 for 1. Grounded out to the pitcher to end the 3rd inning. Now with an even count of 1 ball and 1 strike. Sparino in a groove, ready with the next pitch, and it's popped up on the infield. Playable for the second baseman, Justin Stone. He settles underneath and makes the catch. And the streak continues for Tommy Sparino. No hits now over the last 5 innings. Just 1 hit in the game, and Milford now down to their last 3 outs. We will head on to the 7th inning. The score remaining 2-0 in favor of Northbridge here on coverage of Milford Legion Baseball on First Class Radio. Kevin Valentine will look to keep the Milford deficit at 2 runs as he opens up this top half of the 7th inning, facing the top of the Northbridge batting order, and first pitch swinging. Justin Stone sends it on the ground to second base. A clean play from Espinette to Michael Ryan for the 4-3 ground out that opens the frame. And that will bring up Isaiah Wadsworth, the left-handed hitting right fielder for Northbridge. He takes a called strike 1. Wadsworth was able to reach on a fielder's choice back in the 5th inning, and he eventually came around to score Northbridge's 2nd run as he sends this pitch foul to fall behind in the count. No balls and 2 strikes. Kevin Valentine's pitch count is now at 81 pitches. And there is a called strike 3, a 3-pitch strikeout of Isaiah Wadsworth. That is now the 3rd strikeout in the game for Kevin Valentine. He collected back-to-back Ks in the 3rd inning, getting the 3rd strikeout of the outing here 2 outs and the base is empty, and it's up to the number 3 hitter, Matt Nichols, who swings and misses for strike 1. Nichols singled in the first, struck out in the third, and reached on a fielder's choice in the 5th. The 0-1 pitch. This is hit in the air down the right field line into foul territory. Over goes Blake Hill. No chance to make a play. It lands for a long strike 2. We're just about 66 minutes deep into this ball game, and we are 2 outs deep in the top of the 7th inning. Kevin Valentine hoping to conclude this top of the 7th inning right here. He's ahead of the batter, Matt Nichols. No balls and 2 strikes. 2 away in the inning. Here is the pitch, and it's hit on the ground past the pitcher. Backed up at shortstop by DeCina. He throws to first for the out that ends the inning. A 1-2-3 frame for Kevin Valentine, who has retired the last 7 batters he's faced. And so he keeps the deficit as is. It's a 2-0 deficit for Milford as they come to the plate in the bottom half of the 7th inning, being 1 hit by Tommy Sperino, trying to avoid a 2-game losing streak when we come back next here on coverage of Milford Legion Baseball on First Class Radio. If you take a look at these Northbridge games over the course of the regular season for Post 343, they have scored at least 6 runs or more in 8 of their last 11 games. So all things considered, a very good outing turned in by Kevin Valentine, limiting this high-powered offense to just 2 runs on 8 hits over 7 innings. He put his team in position for the victory. And right now, before we see a pitch in the bottom half of the 1st inning, we're seeing some gesturing from the home plate umpire towards the Milford bench, looking to keep the players within their defined dugout spot, and it looked as though everyone was beyond the white line that is designated for the dugout area for the team. And so now, going over and talking to Coach DeVito down the third base line, everyone is allowed to go back to where they were before, so apparently the home plate umpire not aware of the ground rules. Everyone on the Northbridge side within the dugout, actually within the dugout structure, and that is by choice. There is a white chalk line around the dugout that allows for players to stand within a certain range of the dugout, and this has just riled up the Milford bench. As now DeCina gets this inning started, he fouls a pitch off to the left and out of play to bring the count to 1 ball and 1 strike. One of the more bizarre things we've seen. But the Milford bench continues to stand as one on the sideline, trying to breathe some life into their offense that has seen just 1 hit over the first 6 innings of this game. It came from Matt DeCina, up now with a count of 1 ball and 1 strike. He floats a pitch in the air out to left field, but it will hang up for Teddy Carey to make the catch. And the first out in the 7th inning is recorded. Milford with their top of the order coming to the plate here in the 7th. This is just the 3rd time through the Milford lineup. Again, just 1 hit and 1 base runner. And that 1 base runner erased on a double play. That has allowed Tommy Sperino to face the minimum through the first, now 6 1/3 innings. Starts off ahead of Andrew McMillan, 0-1. McMillan a fly out and a ground out to his credit. And takes a generous strike 2 call on the inner part of the plate. The catcher, Austin Young, pulling that one back towards the corner, and it got the call. No balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Here's the pitch. That one inside and down in the dirt. And that will go for ball 1. This has not been a good 2-day stretch for the offensive stats of any of these players here on Post 59, as McMillan now, with a defensive swing, he sends a pitch foul up over the backstop and out of play. A 1 ball, 2 strike count on the man at the plate, Andrew McMillan. Here's the pitch. And that one ruled inside for ball 2. The inside part of the plate to these lefty batters, a bit inconsistent over the course of these 7 innings of play. Here now is a 2-2 offering, and it's up and in towards the face of McMillan. It backed him off the plate, and that brings the count full. Post 59 would certainly take a walk in this situation to bring the tying run to the plate. Here is the payoff pitch, and it is outside for ball 4. And Milford has some life here in the 7th inning. That breaks up a string of 17 consecutive batters retired from Tommy Sperino. And it will also have him pitching out of the stretch for the first time since the first inning. We'll see if Milford can take advantage. A lead for Andrew McMillan at first base as Kevin Valentine sends a pitch foul and out of play for strike 1. Valentine pitching 7 strong innings on the mound, allowing the 2 runs to Northbridge, but in danger of taking his first loss as part of this Milford staff. If the offense cannot generate a comeback, it's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Valentine ready, Sperino ready. Here's the pitch. It's chopped on the ground, foul wide of first base. And Valentine now down in the count. McMillan creeping out to a lead at first base. He is held on by Dylan Jepson. And they will check over at first base, a low pickoff throw from Sperino. And McMillan back. He has not had to worry about base runners all game long, Tommy Sperino. Trying to keep McMillan close. Here's the 1-2 pitch. It's a breaking ball that does not break. It stays high. And the count goes to 2 balls and 2 strikes. Valentine up now, Michael Ryan on deck, Milford trailing by a pair. They have a 1-out base runner here in the bottom of the 7th. Here's the pitch, and it is swung on and missed for strike 3, held on to by the catcher Young. It's the 3rd strikeout for Sperino.
Now batting, first baseman, Mike Ryan.
Milford shut out earlier in the season at the hands of Maine South. That happened back on June 18th. They were shut out here yesterday. 1 out away from being shut out for a 3rd time on the season and on consecutive days. Michael Ryan starts off taking a look at strike 1 on the outside part of the plate. Ryan representing the tying run at the plate with McMillan at first. But 2 outs in the 7th inning as this pitch drops in low. It rolls away a bit from Austin Young, the catcher, but Andrew McMillan certainly not wanting to chance making the 3rd out on the bases. He stays at first. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count now on Michael Ryan. The Milford bench not giving up. Here's the 1-1, a big secondary lead over at first for Andrew McMillan. He holds as the pitch is in for a called strike 2. So Milford down to their last strike. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs in the inning. The pitch from Sperino is waved at and missed for strike 3 for the out that ends the ball game, and Northbridge charges out of the dugout to congratulate their starting pitcher. It's the 2nd time we have seen this sight on consecutive days here at Pheno Field.
That's a gem.
As Milford loses this one to Northbridge by a final score of 2-0. Just 2 base runners through the entire game. Tommy Sperino facing 1 batter over the minimum. And we have seen some dominating starting pitching. First out of Framingham on the 4th of July, and now here on the 5th of July, it was Tommy Sperino dealing post 59 their 2nd straight loss, and It sends Milford now to just one game over 500, 9-8, and not a point in the season where they can afford back-to-back losses. This will keep them right on the fringe of the playoff picture as we head into the last full week of the season. But Milford losing this one tonight again by a final score of 2-0.